Greetings, this is Victorian and welcome back to Let's Play Lamplight City. Alright, so we're getting close to finishing this case, but there is still the question of why he had bigger clothes and who the man in the strange man was, so we're definitely missing something. Let's try going back to the Raven and see if I can find something. That I missed somewhere. Now that I have more information. Oh. This guy is here.
Moment of your time, if I may.
Right, I'll make it quick.
I wonder if you could tell me if you saw a man of this description at the Silent Raven on election night. He's tall, strong build, with a beard or mutton chops, dressing all in black and possibly wearing a cap.
Oh, aye. Cormac remembers seeing a fella like that.
What was he doing?
Kept going in and out of the bar. When he was inside, he stood near the voting booths, hardly moving a muscle.
And when he was outside?
That, Cormac couldn't say.
Did you notice anything else about him?
Yes, Cormac noticed him come in and speak with Nicole, the barmaid, after the commotion outside.
Is that right? That's very interesting.
Alright.
Do you know anyone named...
The barmaid has some explaining to do.
That's not a name Cormac knows.
Frankly, I'm surprised it's not the name of one of his tools.
Thanks for your time. I'll
Don't
let you
diss
get back to your drink.
Cormac. He was actually very instrumental in the case so far.
Have you ever noticed that this Jimbo fellow fits the description of the man loitering outside the taxidermy shop? The barmaid told us she saw someone matching that description at the Raven on election night. Not only that, Priscilla just so happens to be the name of the ship Jimbo works on. And the pistol used to murder Ronan has the initials JB etched on it. It could be a coincidence, but I think it's quite reasonable to consider it.
Yeah, it's not him. I'm pretty sure it was Ned's uncle.
Excuse me, barmaid?
But again, that doesn't explain the clothes.
Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Nope.
I was given the physical description of a man, and I was wondering if you might recognize him if I told you.
Perhaps. Go on.
He's tall, strong build, with a beard or mutton chops, dressing all in black and possibly wearing a cap.
Bit vague, wouldn't you say? That covers about half our clientele.
I was afraid that was the case. Did you notice anyone of that description here on election night?
No.
Someone is lying.
Sorry.
Is that right? Because Cormac told me he saw you speaking with someone of that description shortly after the murder occurred.
Who's been a bad girl?
Cormac's a good sort, but he's not exactly reliable.
I'd say he's twice as
Why would she
reliable
lie
as you
to
are.
us?
Now tell me the truth, or I'll have you in as an accomplice to murder.
All right, relax. I don't know the man by name, but he came to me after the commotion outside and paid me a few crowns to keep my mouth shut about it. I didn't ask any more questions, and I wasn't about to refuse some extra cash. That was that, I swear.
That's not good enough. I need some way to find this man. Is there anything else you can tell me?
Well, I did notice he had a scar on his left cheek. Kind of looked like a shepherd's crook. But that's all, really.
Something more for the bulleting.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
Who was he and what was he doing there? He paid her to not... Why though? I don't know, let's go get another bulletin. This time probably the correct one, hopefully.
Can we talk for a moment, Upton?
Certainly. What's on your mind?
Can I try giving you that description again? I may have more details now.
Sure. More details will definitely help. Could you describe the man's height and build?
He's tall, with a large build.
All right. What color is his hair?
I'm certain it's red.
All right. Do you know of any unique details that might make him easier to identify?
Yes, he has a scar on his left cheek in the shape of a shepherd's crook.
Good. That will be helpful. All right, I'll put out the bulletin. Give me a moment. All right, the bulletin is out. I'll let you know if...
That's the right one.
Upton? Just got your bulletin.
Hello, Giles. Have you got something for me?
As a matter of fact, I've got someone in the jail fitting your description perfectly.
You don't say.
Yup. Name's Harvey Presser. Got picked up a couple of days ago.
Thank you, Giles. You heard the man, Fordham. You've got yourself someone to interrogate over at Bow Street.
Alrighty, progress is being made. And we shall save. Back to the jail. Oh yeah, look at that.
You look even worse than the last time I saw you.
We can't all manage to keep looking as good as you, Giles.
What brings you back?
I'm looking
Yeah,
to
he's
see what his
tall
business-
as hell.
Professor? I just got off
Jesus.
the horn with Upton about him. Seems you're not the only one interested in finding the man.
Then I suppose it's lucky I got here first.
Suppose so.
What was he brought in for, exactly?
He's the suspected leader of a cooping gang. Makes me glad I didn't bother to vote. All
What the
those
hell is a
dirty
cooping
politics are
gang?
just a waste of time.
And people wonder why nothing in Parliament ever changes.
Seriously?
Harvey Presser.
Was he named goalkeeper?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
What do you want from me?
Just a few
I can't
minutes
say
of your
no.
time. You don't have anywhere to be, do you?
Hardy har.
Probably jailkeeper.
That's what you want, but I'm not answering anything until I see a lawyer.
Oh damn. That's some nice shit, dude.
Do you recognize the man in this ferrotype?
Should I?
His name is Ronan Lespay. He was shot outside the Silent Raven on election night.
That's a real shame.
Are you saying you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Not a thing. I've never even heard of the Silent Raven.
Is that right? Because I've spoken to at least 3 people who swore they saw you there that night.
Yeah, and you're not police, so that doesn't scare me. You can't do a thing about it.
This guy's starting to get on my
I mean, I
nerves.
can tell the
There
police.
has to be a
I
way
can't
to
do that.
talk.
I hear you were arrested for leading a cooping gang. Is that right?
I don't have to tell you a thing. You're not a copper.
That's all the questions I have for now.
Good.
Hmm.
Leave me in peace.
Need to find some way to break him. Yeah, jailkeeper. Interesting. I can never read that as jail. Anyway, let's go back to Upton and see if we can get a... Can I get the badge? A fake badge? Something?
Can we talk for a moment, Upton?
Certainly. What's on your mind?
Upton, what do you have on this Harvey Presser fellow?
Give me a moment, and I'll locate the arrest report. Here we are. He was picked up in a bar in Chumley after being identified as the leader of a cooping gang by one of his fellow gang members.
So much for loyalty. Anything else about him?
Not much besides his address.
That might be worth looking into.
It's 5885 Riverview Road, right near the asylum.
What is a cooping
Ah,
gang?
wonderful.
Will someone
Maybe
tell me?
afterwards you can drop by and pick out a room.
I'll let you get back to work.
And you'd better do the same.
My god, this case had so many locations.
Just a moment.
Is that family?
Yeah? What do you want?
Ooh, she doesn't look like the type to take any guff. Better watch yourself, Miles.
Mrs. Presser, I'd like to speak with you about your husband.
Well, he's not here right now. He's been away for a few days, actually. Who are you exactly?
My name's Miles Fordham. I just have a few questions. I promise this won't take long.
All right, come in. But try and keep it down. My daughter isn't feeling well, and I don't want her being disturbed.
The hell is this? I like that this place is kinda run down, right? But I still can afford these Steam devices somehow. Must be dirt cheap.
Some of those modern steam cleaners, if they use them in this place, they clearly aren't worth a damn. She doesn't look so good. Seems to be a notice from the bank threatening to foreclose on this place if they're late on their rent payment again. No wonder Harvey's taken a second job. Presumably that goes into the presser's bedroom. Or it might be a closet. Or both. It seems peasant soup is on the menu tonight.
Mrs. Presser?
Yeah, what?
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Never heard of him.
And you've never seen the man in this ferrotype?
Nope. And I'm glad I haven't. Looks like a real pushover.
Wow, what a judgment to make. How does he look like he's a pushover, and why would you say that anyway? What a mean thing to
What
say.
does your husband do for a living, Mrs. Presser?
Harvey? He's a traveling salesman. Sells steam powered cleaners in the corner there.
That's why they have it.
Doesn't make much money on account of most people being afraid of steam tech these days. But Harvey tries his best to provide for me and little Mary. He's a good man. The job takes him out of town for days at a time, but we get by.
And that's all he does?
What are you asking? You know something I don't?
No, not at all. I was just curious.
Oh, look, another husband keeping secrets from his wife. There are a copper a dozen around here, it seems.
So what do you do while your husband's away?
Hang on there, what are you playing at? I'm a married woman.
I merely wanted to know a bit more about you, that's all. I meant no disrespect.
Is that your game? Asking innocent ladies about themselves?
Whoa, what the fuck,
He
lady?
doesn't have to worry about being mistaken for innocent, that's for sure.
No, you know what? Just forget I said anything. Is your daughter all right?
She's just come down with a bit of something. This stew I'm making will put her right again. I've been giving her regular doses of Pink Bladder's Miracle Tonic, too. I'm sure she'll be back to tearing the house down again in a matter of days. Ticks after her father, that one.
Are you pleased with the election results?
Yeah, I'm glad that no-good high muck-a-muck Outwood was voted out. Maybe now they can finally get to work on that bridge to Gascon we've been promised for so long.
But won't Leroy's opposition to steam tech be bad for your husband's business?
Maybe, but Harvey's always managed to land on his feet. If it comes down to it, I'm sure he'll be able to find a new job in no time. I was never too keen on him selling those contraptions anyway. It'll be a
Sure.
relief to get them out of the house.
Jobs are easy to find.
I don't have any more questions for you, Mrs. Presser.
Good.
Okay. I guess I can go back and speak to him. You know, your daughter is sick. He needs you. We know that you do multiple things because you don't have money. Stuff like that.
A few more questions for you, Mr. Presser.
Whatever you say.
I had a little chat with your wife. You have a lovely family.
Mildred? How did you...
I may not be with the police anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't still get the information I need.
You didn't tell her about me being in jail, did you?
Don't worry.
Not yet.
It's quite obvious your wife has no idea what you're involved in. As a man who values discretion, I thought it best not to shatter her illusions.
That's awfully decent of you.
Of course, I might change my mind, unless you start to cooperate.
I have to say, Miles, you've become a real natural at this tough cop role.
All right, fine. I'll talk. Just leave my family out of it.
Do you recognize the man in this ferrotype?
Yes, I do. That's Mr. Lespay.
And how is it you know him?
I was assigned to watch him and then pick him up on election night.
Assigned? By whom?
My employer. I'd really rather not name names, Mr. Fordham.
I don't care about your employer. What I care about is what you were doing with Mr. Lespay.
Well, it was a cooping scheme. He was one of the people I was told to pick up.
What the fuck is a coping scheme? Who can ask that, so that's good.
Tell me what you know about the murder outside the Silent
It's like the
Raven.
developers expect you to know what it is,
The most important thing I
but...
can tell you is that I didn't kill him.
Do you know who did?
Not a clue. I was inside the bar when I heard the gunshot. I went outside to see what had happened and found Lespay on the sidewalk.
And what happened next?
What do you think? I panicked. He was in my care. I wasn't expecting anyone to get killed.
I think Mr. Presser has a wildly different definition of the word care.
I went inside and gave the barmaid 10 crowns to keep her mouth shut. Clearly, that was money misspent. Then I went back home, told my wife I was going away on a business trip for a few days, just in case. Good thing I
That
did.
hair is glorious, by the
Might
way.
get out of this with her none the wiser.
What makes you so sure they'll let you out?
Me,
So
I'm
thick.
just a small fish, but I could talk and talk about whales. That's valuable information.
Quite the shrewd negotiator, this one. I think his skills have been wasted.
Is this your first time in jail?
Yeah, actually. Suppose you think I'm just some criminal scum, born for the gibbet? I'm not a bad man, Mr. Fordham. I just made some mistakes. You've met my family. I'd do anything for them. Anything.
I suppose no good deed goes unpunished.
You can say that again.
Tell me more about this cooping scheme.
I got paid to find men to vote for Atwood. Simple, really. Mark, I followed him a bit, knocked him out, then took him to the coop, a little room I rented near the Raven. I had about 5 men on election night, including Lespay. Got them all liquored up and walked them over to the polls. Once each of them voted, we'd walk back over to the coop. I'd change their clothes, maybe give them a fake beard, and walk back for another vote. Did it for myself, too, so people would be less likely to notice.
Wow, they didn't have IDs back then?
Until the murder.
That's all the questions I have for now.
Good. Leave me in peace.
That's interesting. And he was for the person that lost, right? That was Atwood, I think. I'm terrible with names. Alright, so I think we got everything we need. Now it makes sense. It didn't have anything to do with the strange man, but we needed to know who he is. And we needed to know why the murder victim had the wrong clothes on, which now we know. This obviously has nothing to do with the sailor. It's obviously this guy. I didn't tell the nephew. Let me go see what happens if I tell him first.
He hasn't got anything else to...
Nope, can't do it. Okay. Worth a try.
You got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
I've completed my investigation of your brother's murder, Mrs. Morgan.
You have? Oh, that's such a relief to hear. Who killed him?
It was Tom Puffin, choir master at St. Denis Cathedral.
What? But why would a member of the church do something like that?
Puffin is in love with his nephew Ned's fiancée, Priscilla. He's even gone so far as to intercept their letters and write to each of them under false pretenses. Mr. Puffin is also an avid opium user and is prone to fits of rage as well as hallucinations. The evening of the murder, Puffin was at the Silent Raven, and in his opium-induced fog mistook your brother for Ned. He had his pistol on him, and his rage and jealousy got the better of him. Poor Ronan was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And what about the clothes he was wearing? Or why he was in Chumley in the first place?
I'm afraid your brother fell victim to a cooping gang. They dragged him to Chumley and forced him to vote multiple times. He was wearing someone else's clothes as part of a disguise.
My poor brother. So what happens now?
Now, I'll inform Miss Upton of my findings, and she'll send an officer along to arrest Puffin. From there, justice will be served accordingly.
I see. Thank you for your help, Mr. Fordham.
Tom Puffin?
Yes, may I help you, officer?
You're under arrest for the murder of Ronan Lespay.
What? Oh, God. So it wasn't a dream.
Come along, sir. We need to question you at the station.
You know, Miles, you've been coming in here a lot lately, but you've never looked quite this glum. What's going on?
I've bungled things pretty badly at home. Been staying with a friend the past couple of weeks.
I see. What happened?
I haven't been honest with my wife. Coming here and drowning my sorrows hasn't really helped, oddly enough. And yet, it's all I can do to keep from going crazy.
You know, Miles, I've seen and heard a lot of things over the years. Some of the stories would turn your hair white. But through it all, I've come to learn one thing. It's usually not too late to make things better, but only if you let yourself try.
Thank you for the advice, Patrick.
All I can do is give it, Miles. Whether you choose to take it or not is entirely up to you. Now,
Would you like another gin?
No, thank you. This time I really do need to be on my way. I should go and see how my wife is doing.
I see. Well, have a good night, Miles. And good luck to you.
Well, that was a choice.
Who in the ether? Miles? This is a surprise.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Damn. Okay, let's start with groveling.
Addie, it's so good to see you. I've been such an idiot lately.
Well, I'm glad you can admit to it. Would you like to come in?
Very much.
Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Man, it is gonna bite us in the ass, isn't it?
I've given it a lot of thought, and I think it's time I finally told you the truth.
Miles, what are you doing? You know this is a terrible idea.
The truth?
About why I've been acting the way I have been, since Bill died.
Well, go on. I'm listening.
Don't do it, Miles. You know it's a one-way ticket to Riverview if you do.
I've been hearing Bill's voice ever since he died.
Fordham, what is wrong with you?
His voice?
I can't believe this! You've just destroyed your life! I hope you realize that!
Yes, in my head, at all hours. That's why I was taking the soporific. It was the only way to keep him quiet. Or so I thought. Turns out that alcohol has the same effect.
What does he say to you?
The type of things he'd say when he was alive. Snarky comments, inappropriate jokes. Mainly he nags me to find the flower shop burglar. He thinks doing that will let him find peace and move on.
I see.
I told you you'd think I was crazy.
Don't be ridiculous, Miles. It's nothing like that. It's just, I wish you had told me sooner is all.
I know, but I was afraid.
Well, I'm glad you finally trusted me. You know, you could have all along.
So, you're all right with it?
It is quite a lot to take in. I think I'll need some time to mull it over. But what matters now is that we can work through this together.
I understand. Well, I should probably go. It was lovely to see you again, Addie.
Lovely to see you too, Miles.
Perhaps I'll stop by again next week?
Or sooner, if you'd like.
Sure. Like the men in white coats aren't gonna have you taken away by then.
Right. I'll see myself out then.
Good night, Miles.
Will she be alone? I hope she was alone there. That makes sense. That's how you should speak to your wife anyway. You would think you could trust her, since you married her. They seem to have a good relationship too.
Fordham, wake up.
Huh? He just leapt over the side. I don't... Oh, Upton. What's going on?
Goodness, Fordham. You look terrible. Is everything all right?
Just had some trouble sleeping. More than usual.
Well, I hope you've rested enough, because I've got something very important to show you.
Oh, wonderful. If we're sharing information now, are you gonna tell Upton about me as well?
Shut up, Bill.
What is it?
There's been a murder.
I assume this one is special somehow, or you wouldn't be bringing it to me.
I thought that great detectives never assumed.
There are exceptions to every rule.
Anyway, you're right. The victim in question is a member of Parliament, a man named Percival McDonough, to be precise. But this is the real corker. The murder is clearly the work of the Justice Killer.
The Justice Killer? Is that the mass murderer I've been hearing about?
The very same.
Why Justice Killer, though?
It's part of his modus operandi. He kills his victims with a single gunshot to the head, then writes the word justice somewhere in the room with the victim's blood.
Talk about melodramatic.
The police are stumped. This is the killer's 5th victim, and there isn't a single lead.
So you want me to investigate?
Not just yet. First, I need you to look at these sketches.
Crime scene sketches? Upton, are you allowed to have these?
Relax, Fordham. These are just copies I made with the station's ferroduplicator. These killings need to stop, and I believe you can succeed where the department has so far failed.
So, what am I looking for?
The police went over each crime scene with a fine-toothed comb and turned up practically no useful physical evidence. I want a second opinion from you. If you can find some sort of link between them, it might be possible to track this monster down.
Alright, let's see what we can see.
And this is why you woke us.
Snelling's finest over
Doesn't
close.
seem like it's time sensitive.
Here are the 4 sketches. Have a look at them and see if you notice anything that might help us find this maniac.
Alright. The case. And apparently the case that was going on from the start. So, I'll leave that for next time. For now, thank you for watching. As usual, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, like, all the good stuff. I'll see you next time with more Lamplight City, which again, it's very enjoyable. So far, at least. Has been very enjoyable for me. Hope you're also enjoying it. Until next time.